Every morning, millions of people wake up and drink a cup of poison. On purpose. Insect poison, built by a plant, to kill things that try to eat it. And you put it in a mug and call it breakfast. Coffee. Here is the second strange thing. That morning boost you feel. The energy. The wake up. It is not real energy. Coffee does not give you energy. Not one drop. It has almost no calories. So where does the boost come from? It comes from a trick. A lie told to your brain. Coffee does not wake you up. It just hides the fact that you are tired. The tiredness is still there. The whole time. You just cannot feel it. And when the trick wears off, all of it comes back at once. So how does a bug-killing chemical end up tricking your brain every single morning? And why can you not stop? Let me show you. Start with the plant, because the whole story begins with a weapon. The active ingredient in coffee is caffeine. And caffeine did not evolve for you. It evolved millions of years before humans existed, and its only known job in nature is defense. Caffeine is a natural pesticide. When an insect bites into a coffee leaf or a coffee berry, it gets a dose of caffeine, and at high enough levels that caffeine can paralyze or kill it. The plant also uses it to poison the soil around itself, holding back rival plants that try to grow too close. It is such an effective weapon that caffeine evolved independently in at least 5 separate plant families. Coffee, tea, cacao, and others all invented the same poison on their own because it works so well. So the bitter taste of coffee is not an accident. Bitterness, as we have seen before, is the taste of a plant defending itself. Coffee is quite literally the flavor of a chemical designed to keep animals away, and we fell in love with it. Now here is how that same poison works its magic on you. To understand caffeine, you have to understand tiredness. From the moment you wake up, your brain cells are working, and as they work, they release a molecule called adenosine. Adenosine is like a timer for sleepiness. It builds up slowly all day long, and it fits into special docking points in your brain called receptors. When enough adenosine plugs into those receptors, your brain gets the message, we are tired, it is time to slow down and sleep. The longer you are awake, the more adenosine builds up, and the more it fills those receptors, and the sleepier you feel. That is your body keeping honest track of how tired you actually are. Now look at the shape of caffeine. By pure chance, caffeine is shaped almost exactly like adenosine, close enough that it fits into the very same receptors. But here is the crucial part. When caffeine plugs in, it does not send the tired signal. It just sits there, blocking the spot. So the adenosine, your real tiredness, is still there, floating around, still building up. But it cannot dock. Caffeine has taken all the parking spaces. Your brain stops receiving the message that you are tired, even though you are. That is the entire trick. Caffeine does not add energy. It blocks the signal that tells you that you are running low. It is like putting a piece of tape over a warning light. The problem is still there. You just cannot see the warning anymore. Now, hiding tiredness is not nothing. There are moments when pushing through exhaustion genuinely helps. A long drive, a hard morning, a night you cannot afford to lose. Blocking that tired signal for a few hours can be the difference between coping and collapsing. And humans have used caffeine exactly that way for centuries. The trick is useful. It is just important to understand that it is a trick alone against your energy, not a gift of new energy. And this is why the crash comes. Caffeine does not last forever. After about 5 hours, half of it is gone. And as it clears out of those receptors, all the adenosine that has been building up the whole time, locked out and waiting, suddenly floods in all at once. Every bit of tiredness you were hiding from arrives at the same moment. That is the coffee crash. It is not that the coffee ran out of fuel. It is that the bill for staying awake finally came due, all at once. And then there is the part that keeps you coming back. Because your brain does not like being blocked. When you drink coffee every day, and those receptors keep getting blocked, your brain adapts. It does something clever and a little bit troubling. It builds receptors. If caffeine keeps taking the parking spaces, the brain just adds more parking spaces, so the adenosine can still get through. But now you have a problem. With all those extra receptors, your normal cup of coffee no longer covers them all. You need more caffeine just to feel normal. And if you stop completely, you are left with a brain full of extra adenosine docking points, all flooding with tiredness at once. That is caffeine withdrawal. The headaches, the fog, the exhaustion. It is your own brain, overprepared for a poison that suddenly is not there. This is why coffee is mildly addictive. Not dangerously, for most people, but truly. Your brain physically rebuilds itself around the expectation of that daily dose. Now let me be honest about the tone here, because this is not a warning against coffee. Caffeine, being a natural pesticide, does not make your coffee dangerous. The dose is the whole point. What kills a tiny insect is spread across a creature many thousands of times larger in you, which is why it wakes you up instead of poisoning you. For most people, moderate coffee is not just safe, it may even come with real benefits. The science on that is still developing, and I am not going to overstate it. The blocking of adenosine is well established, textbook neuroscience. The building of extra receptors and the withdrawal effect are well documented too. What is always a bit more complex is the fine detail, how much each person is affected, how genetics change your response, how big the health effects really are. People process caffeine at very different speeds. But the core mechanism, caffeine wearing the mask of adenosine, is solid and real. So how did humans ever start drinking a bug poison on purpose? Nobody knows for certain, but there is a famous story. The legend, written down centuries ago, tells of an Ethiopian goat herder named Kaldi. He is said to have noticed that when his goats ate the bright red berries of a certain bush, they became strangely energetic, almost too lively to sleep at night. Curious, he tried the berries himself, felt the same lift, and the knowledge spread from there. It is a good story, and I have to be honest that it's almost certainly a myth, or at least heavily decorated. It was written down long after it supposedly happened, and we cannot verify it. But something like it must have occurred. Somewhere, someone noticed that a certain bitter berry chased away sleep. And whether it was one goat herder or a slow discovery by many people, coffee's homeland really is the highlands of Ethiopia, and the earliest clear records of coffee being brewed come from Yemen, centuries ago. From there it spread across the world and became one of the most consumed substances on the planet. So think about what is really in your cup. You are drinking a chemical weapon that a plant evolved to paralyze insects and poison its rivals. It works on you because, by pure coincidence, it is shaped just like the molecule your brain uses to feel tired. So it slips into those docking points and blocks them, hiding your exhaustion instead of curing it. Your tiredness waits, held back, until the caffeine clears and it all rushes in. And drink it long enough, and your brain rebuilds itself around it, until you need it just to feel like yourself. And knowing all of that, billions of people will still wake up tomorrow and reach for it, because that bitter, borrowed alertness, stolen from a plant's defense system, has become one of the small daily rituals that hold human life together. You are not really buying energy. You are borrowing wakefulness against a debt your body will always, eventually, collect. And somehow, that trait has become one of the most beloved habits our species has ever had. The next time you take that first warm sip, remember what it really is. A plant's poison, wearing the mask of your own tiredness, and you, happily, knowingly, falling for it again. See you in the next one.